Hello and welcome to the Gilstrat channel. My name is JB. Have you ever bought a train just because you thought it looked cool? Well, that's what happened with this train set. Back in 2017, I had the opportunity to visit the Kyoto Railroad Museum. It was here that I first discovered the KuHa 489 series passenger EMU train. It was a very interesting looking train that reminded me a lot of a 1950s or 1960s car. Intrigued, I began looking to see if I could find an N-scale model of this train for my own train layout. Eventually, I found it listed in the 2020 Kato catalog. The 49 series train was a limited express EMU that was introduced in March 1972 by the Japanese National Railways. It was then later used by the East Japan Railway Company and the West Japan Railway Company until 2012. There are currently two examples of the 489 series train still being preserved today. The KuHa 489-1, located at the Kyoto Railroad Museum, the one that I saw, and the KuHa 489-501, which is currently being preserved in Komatsu, Ishikawa. The Kato train set, pictured here, includes the 489-1 and 489-501 end cars, painted in their last operating scheme, the JR Noto line. However, the prototype 489-1, located at the Kyoto Railroad Museum, has been restored to the JNR Raicho paint scheme, making this model similar but slightly different from the prototype I saw at the museum. The Kato product number for this set is 10-818. This is a 5-car set that includes the two aforementioned end cars and 3 passenger coaches, including 1 powered motor car for activating the train. This set is DCC ready, which means it has slots built into the end cars and powered motor car where specially built decoders from Kato and Digitrax can be mounted into the train to control movement and lighting with DCC. To begin, we'll first install the decoder for controlling the motor. This is decoder part 29-351 or EM13. As you can see from the Japanese instructions included, it won't be too difficult to install it into the locomotive. So first, we'll pop open the cover, just slide it, and it should snap off. Next, I will pop off the powered truck carefully using a pair of plastic tweezers and pull that out. Then, I will carefully slide the decoder up underneath the motor in between 2 copper strips, isolating the motor from the power pickups on the wheels in between the decoder. Then, I will carefully line up the drive rod back into the flywheel. And then snap the truck back into place. And I check to make sure everything moves freely. And then lastly, I place the plastic cover back over the motor. Next, I will install the light decoders in the 2 end cars. These are parts 29-352 or FL12. You can also see from these instructions that it's not too difficult to install these either. First, there's a plastic cover that needs to be popped out. I used a pair of plastic tweezers to avoid scratching the plastic. Next, I will insert the decoder. Depending on which direction the decoder goes will determine whether it's the front car or the end car. You can change whether it's the front car or the end car simply by switching which way you install the decoder. I then carefully slid the decoder in between 2 copper strips using a small metal screwdriver. Once the decoder is properly in place, you can then reattach the little plastic cover. I then repeated this installation for the other end car. now that both the motor and light car decoders have been installed, it's time to program them. I'm going to use my programming track and JMRI on my laptop. Unfortunately, after looking at the instruction sheet, I realized that these decoders are of an old design and only support 2-digit or short addressing. This means that the locomotive address can only be between 1 and 127. So you'll need to keep this in mind if you're used to 4-digit addressing. In JMRI, I originally tried automatically detecting the decoders, but this failed, so I had to manually find them. I found it located under Kato and EM13 for the power motor car decoder. I then went ahead and added the information into the decoder registry. Then, when I went to program it, I made sure to do it as the short address, and I programmed it to the last 2 digits, 89. Once this was done, I tested the decoder, and sure enough, the motor worked, moving forwards and backwards. Next, I programmed the light decoders. Here, I was able to look them up just as before under Kato and then FL12. I also programmed these both with a short address of 89. Both decoders can be programmed the same because, once again, the direction the decoder is installed in the end car determines whether it's the front car or the last car of the train. So in the programming area, it's the exact same programming for both decoders because they will function oppositely if they are installed in opposite directions in the cars. Finally, I checked to make sure that the light car worked, and yep, white lights when going forward and red tail lights when going backwards. Well, now that everything's been programmed and tested, it's time to put it on the layout and watch it run. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like this video or are interested in Japanese trains or trains in general, I invite you to please subscribe to this channel. You can also check out my website at gilshrat.info. Additionally, I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/Gilshrat and Twitter at twitter.com/Gilshrat channel. And once again, thanks for watching.